I call this meeting of order. Please stand for the pledge.
Good job, buddy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done. Thank you.
Great job.
Great.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Council Member Henry
I'll second that.
and a second by Council Member McKnight. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Community comment for anything that's not on the agenda. Seeing none, we will move on to presentations and reports. Tonight we have Carver County Library Director Heidi Hawks with us. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here so I could talk a little bit about the library, give you an update. Of course, your library, specific to your area, is the Carver Express Library. We're very proud of it. It's a locker unit, 20 lockers, and you can just put a request on material, whether it's a book, whether it's a DVD, a book on CD, and it'll come to you in the locker, and you get a special code that only you know unless you share it with someone, and you can go right up, just right up the hill to the beautiful Southwest Transit building, and we're very proud to be a part of that collaborative effort with you. So thank you for that. Your locker units, the Carver Express, is part of the Carver County Library System. We have 4 locker units or 4 express libraries in Carver County, 1 in Carver, 1 in Cologne, 1 in Mayer, and 1 in Victoria. We also have 6 full-service libraries in Chanhassen, Chaska, Victoria, Waconia, Watertown, and Norwood, Young America. We are proud of all of them, and because of the sharing that all of them do, you get more for your money. Absolutely, and it's a wonderful thing. Saving money is a great thing. Also, as a member of Carver County Library, you are a member of the MELSA Library System, Metropolitan Library Services Agency, and as such, your card is good in over 100 libraries. And besides that, your card, because they're a part of Minitex, is good throughout the state in over 300 libraries. You can have materials sent to you from Ely, Minnesota, and then you can have them transported back for exactly $0. Another great savings for you. We also have many things that are available at our MELSA, through our MELSA library system. We have ebooks, we have e-audiobooks, we have databases for kids to do homework from. And because of all these different materials that are available to you through MELSA, we get, it's as if we get over $500,000 worth of materials and services like this ticket. When you go to the theater, when you go to Chaska Valley Family Theater, or you go to a music concert in the Twin Cities, you get a ticket, right? Well, this is your ticket to all kinds of professional musical, theatrical events and museums. Just go to the website that's located on the back, and you can actually pick up tickets for free for events and be able to attend those events. So it's another great savings. Just a few highlights from this last year. Outreach especially was fun for us. We started the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program, where parents sign their child up and they need to read 1,000 books to their child before their child enters kindergarten. So that sounds daunting, doesn't it? But really, if you think 1,000 books divided by 50 weeks, you take a couple weeks off for a vacation, right? You know, that's not that many books in a year, or in a year, and it really, you got 5 years to get that done. So, and after that, my goodness, your kids get books that they can have for their own personal libraries. The Memory Maker kits. These are kits for caregivers of those people that have dementia, and it helps them bring back memories of times long ago. It can be a book, it can be an audio. There's one that we have that's on radio days and actually has an audio recording of old-time radio programs, and it has pieces of paper that within tablets within that you can write down the memories that have been evoked from the books, the DVDs, the CDs, all the different things that are in the kits. There are even some things like there's on the farm, and there's fur to feel that brings back memories to some people. You'll also notice we had expansion to our service to senior citizens residences, whether it was arts, whether it was music programs, whether it was book discussion groups within the senior centers. They've really been a very popular addition. And we expanded our collaborative services with Parks Department, both the Parks Department of the county and the Parks Department of various cities with different programming. And of course, we had an expansion of outreach to our schools this year. Also want to let you know that we have some beautiful spaces within our full-service libraries, but it's important to keep them beautiful. So we keep looking to make our spaces even better than they are. This year we worked with the Chanhassen Library porches. They got new chairs, they got new sofas, new tables. They also had a big upgrade of AV in the Wilder Room. They are our largest meeting room. They have our largest meeting room, and so it's important to keep the AV up to date for all the people that utilize it. And our Watertown Library got library shelving units this year, which were very much needed. And of course, we have a lot of programs. Carver County Cares for those people with dementia and their caregivers, the STEM programming, science, technology, engineering, and math. The last 2 years, we've been working on those programs for teens and for our elementary school children. Now we even have STEM programming for preschool children, and you should see those kids code, preschoolers coding already. The Poetry in the Parks initiative, which one of your local residents actually created. Angela Hunt created this wonderful program where the local authors actually take the poetry that they have made and they put it on big placards, and you actually dig the stakes into the ground, and people can walk around and read this poetry as they're going through the park. And it created more interest in coming to various parks according to park officials. Communications expansion for programming and services and much more. But we're talking a little bit about our programs, and you're going to see that in the annual report, which is this big piece before you. That's okay. If you look inside, it's going to talk about our programs, just a little snippet about several of the programs, not all of them, but you can see all the programs that we've had. And of course, let's not forget all the wonderful books that we have for you to check out, and the DVDs and so on. You'll look on the back and you'll see that we almost made 1 million circulation this year. You'll also notice that we had a number of library visitors, almost 500,000, but nowadays we've got to realize that not all of our visitors physically walk in our doors. Some of them come into our libraries virtually, and we have some of them coming in at all hours of the day and night. We're 24/7 with our website, and we have a lot of jammies visitors, and we love them just as much as our people that walk in the door. You'll also notice that we've had an increase in our children's program attendance. We're almost at 13,500 for the year, and our children's story time attendance always strong, going up, 17,191. Another figure I'd like you to look at is the video Victoria Tech Desk Consults. That's where people come in with their problems, their computer problems. We've even had people come in, grandparents come in with a Christmas box that's been, I mean, they've got the wrapping on it and everything. They haven't dared take it out, but their grandchildren sent them whatever device it was, and, oh, you can do it, Grandma. You can do it, Grandpa. Oh, sure. They come in and they get help, and they get one-on-one help, which is really important that they have that, and we're thrilled about that. And of course, at the very bottom, one of our favorite features every year is to tell you what was the most popular book for the year and the most popular DVD. And as you see, the DVD was Dunkirk. So fascinating, wonderful movie if you haven't seen it. But what about your Express Library statistics? If you look on the slides, Carver is doing pretty well at 1,116 circulation for 2016, just behind Victoria. And of course, Mayor has half the locker units, but they have a lot of circulation. They, however, are open 24/7. They actually have their little lobby open at all hours of the day and night so that people can come in and get their books. We even have a patron from Chanhassen who only, because he works 2 jobs, he only has time to get his books well after hours, Chanhassen's hours, so he has his books sent over to the Mayor locker units, the Express Library there, and he picks them up at that place. And of course, every year we've been hosting a very popular bus story time, and we've got kids already asking for the bus story time. They can't wait to do the wheels on the bus while they're sitting on the bus. So the wheels are beneath them, so we're very excited about that. It is only available yet at the Carver Express Library. So what's next for Express Libraries? You know, we started our Express Libraries and we did a little publicity about them, but we really need to dig deeper because there are people that think they have no access to libraries and all the great materials that we have within them. So we've got to get out to them. So we've started a plan with that, and we're hoping to get that in gear this summer yet, because we have a wonderful housing unit very close to the Southwest Transit Station that I think this would be a fabulous way for them to be able to get materials and to keep reading during the summer, especially for the kids, because according to all the reports, during the summer there's a summer slump. And how do you kids go down in their reading levels? Well, how do you get those reading levels to stay at the same rate or maybe even go up? And the simple answer is to read. So we want to make sure they get those materials into them. So I tried to get through it quick. Do you have any questions?
I do. Heidi, I see the statistics for the circulation for the Express Libraries were 2016. Do we have the 2007?
Oops, no, that was my fault. You are right. My bad. It's hard when you get old.
I understand. I was just
It
curious.
is 2019, yeah, or 2018, I'm
I
sorry.
was looking for if we could get even the 2017 statistics just to see what type of growth that we've
okay.
had with the circulation at the Express Library.
Sure, I can get that for you.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. And I'm going to ask Vicki if you would email me because I forget. Okay, great, thanks.
What can we do to help promote the Express Library?
Talk. You know, the best kind of promotion is word of mouth. So talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to people that you see at church or at the grocery store. That's the best kind of promotion, you know, because we can do the flyers and brochures, but really the best promotion is saying, hey, have you been up to the Southwest Transit Station? We've got an Express Library there. You can get books sent to you. You can call in the Chaska Library and have them send these books to you, or send these DVDs.
I didn't understand that. So, do you want people to go up to the Southwest Metro Transit Station,
That
and
has the,
that's where they can go get their books and take them home with them, and they can return them right there?
right?
And that's at the Southwest Metro Transit Station.
Right up the road.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Heidi, I am one of the library patrons who doesn't step foot in the library, but will still check out an ebook or a book on tape. I didn't know you knew I was in my jammies when I was doing it, but that's good to know. Do you see that as a trend that will increase?
Yes, we do, and that's one of the reasons that we're trying to increase our e-circulation, our e-materials budget. We have a request into the county this year again for an increase. It's just something, ebooks are always increasing, but what's jackknifed up have been the e-audio books. And part of that is the number of people whose eyesight is going, and two things. People whose eyesight is going, but then the second thing is the number of people who drive to work. You know, and they need something to keep them, if they're like me, awake while they're driving, and something to make the time go by as they're driving. And maybe they're going up to their cabin on the weekend, so they need something for them.
Right. Sometimes it's just cool to hear the book in the author's own words, too.
Right, because the author puts inflections in certain places that you would never understand they would, you know, and suddenly it becomes a whole new book to you. I've read a lot of McCall Smith books, and the first time I heard him read his books, I was blown away, because totally different interpretation of certain scenes than I had.
Right.
So
I have a question, and Brent, maybe you can help on this one. So we have a new senior living facility that's going to be built here in Carver, is being built here in Carver. And I'm assuming that a number of those residents won't be able to drive to the library, and maybe at that point don't have the computer skill set either. Do you do something where the van comes around and does a book drop that way and can bring books to a specific location?
we do several things for senior citizens, and one of the things, and a good example is the Norwood Young America Library, where we have volunteers that come. The books are already pre-selected books for them from which to choose every 3 weeks. And the volunteers bring the books out, lay them out, and then they have their mini library time. So that certainly is a possibility to do in the new senior center. And we are doing more with our senior residences. Carver County has a large number of senior residences, and we're very proud of them. We had a University of Minnesota professor who recently moved to Carver County because she heard the residences were so good here, and she has no family in the area, and she can't drive anymore, and so she knew she could get her material. She just knew it, so she called the library, and sure enough, we didn't have a program there, but we had a homebound volunteer come out to her with what she wanted. So you can go either the homebound route or asked if it's possible to have an actual program like they do and there's a lot of different senior programs, but a program where they bring the books to you, book discussion groups that go out there, music programs that go out there. We have a gal who goes out and reads books and then does music, you know, in certain residences. So there's all kinds of options now for seniors.
Good. That might be something to look into once that building opens, definitely. Really good
Right.
question.
We would love to serve that building. We would love to serve the residents that are there.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the update.
All right. Moving on. No public hearings. That brings us to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Got a motion from Councilmember Mock
I'll second that.
and a second from Councilmember Henry. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. No unfinished business. Moving to new business, the certified levy project. Mr. Merrick.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we're asking the City Council to consider a resolution of support related to the certified levy project. As you know, the Council has reviewed a conceptual design for the modernization and certification of the levy, and that anticipated price tag is $10 million. And so with a project of that scope, we really wanted to bring this kind of in a summary format for the council so that we have kind of a guide to kind of reach out to residents as far as how to communicate this project. Because of a project like this that doesn't have a funding source, it's difficult sometimes to talk about it with residents or people that aren't maybe involved on a day-to-day basis and try to understand where we're at in the process. And so this really serves as kind of an education piece for residents and other stakeholders, but also a way, hopefully, to try to communicate the city's intentions with legislators, agencies, etc. So tonight, the resolution of support would verify the council's support of the concept plan and would authorize council and staff, etc., to work on pursuing funding. So you're not approving the concept plan as far as like we're going to start construction. You're not authorizing funding for the project. This is just basically, we like this concept plan. We like kind of where it's heading. We like how it's put together, but there's still an awful lot of work to do. So I kind of mentioned that in kind of the specifics here. We're not committing funding. We're not authorizing the construction. We are tentatively planning a community meeting with property owners in the floodplain for Wednesday, May 15th. And we're going to look at some other engagement strategies for later on this summer to kind of bring the rest of the residents into the fold. Before I get into any questions, I just wanted to kind of give an overview for maybe those that are watching and aren't familiar with the levee situation, where we've been and where we're heading. So the construction of the levee was initiated in 1965 after the significant flood event that occurred in the downtown. And the levee was really kind of an all-in community project, so there weren't any, to our knowledge, any formal design documents. We don't have record drawings of what the soils were that were used to construct it. It's held up very well, obviously, and it's a testament to the work that those community members did. However, there are a variety of deficiencies, and I'd put deficiencies in kind of air quotes as defined by FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers. They have design standards for the slope, the levee slope, or freeboard, which is the height of the levee. There are certain pieces with drainage, and so in order for that flood levee to be certified, FEMA, Army Corps of Engineers, needs to document the types of soils that were used, the compaction. You have to maintain certain areas along the levee for maintenance requirements. There's certain slope requirements, and then the freeboard has to be at certain heights depending upon where you're at along the system. And so over the past many years or decades, I should say, the city has taken several attempts to kind of understand what it would mean to make these improvements, working with Stantec, Mead and Hunt, Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, and then recently in October of last year, hiring WSB to build a concept plan or construct a concept plan. The council viewed that concept at your February 19th meeting and generally supported that concept. And one of the things that I wanted to point out, and I kind of stressed it earlier with some of the pieces that would change, like freeboard, the slope of the levee, the certification wouldn't entail basically taking down the old levee and building something new. And frankly, you know, the first couple times I started hearing certification of levee, that's just what I envisioned is the levee that you see, they're going to take all that dirt out, they're going to bring in a bunch of new dirt, and they're going to reconstruct it. This is more of a surgical effort where they're going to, in the concept plan, they've identified areas that maybe need to be higher, that maybe need to have a different slope. When there are areas that are really tight, They might put a sheet pile in there and build some temporary walls. As this plan develops from concept to maybe a preliminary design, we're gonna have some more details, and that'll be the challenge, I think, for staff, for council, for residents, as, the way that we described it, there was the HPC had their open house, property owner had a bunch of questions, and we know what the end looks like, we just don't know all the details, so we compared it to a jigsaw puzzle. We know where all the pieces are, we just don't know how they fit together, and so there was a concern about would my property be taken, and the concept right now doesn't have anything related to property taking, but we just don't know how these pieces fit together and what certain properties are going to need as far as a constructability standpoint of how that levy fits in. So we put together a resolution that gives a little bit of history, something that we can use for potential funding opportunities, something that we can share with our legislators, something that we can share with residents. So again, we're planning on that stakeholder meeting with folks in the floodplain on the 15th, and then as we build some momentum, we're going to plan for some additional events into the summer and then into the early fall as we get a better understanding of what the needs are going to be. So happy to answer any questions.
Questions? No. Glenn, questions?
This is just moving forward from where we've been with WSB, correct?
Correct. So when the concept was presented, as a council, you didn't say like, yes, we affirm this, we want to move forward. And so if you think about it from a kind of because one of the things we've spoken about is special legislation. Under probably any circumstance, you wouldn't want any one council member or the mayor to pursue special legislation on their own. You'd want to say as a group, this is something you support. And so this is really kind of coalescing your support and saying, yes, we want to take measures to, whether it's through the bonding bill, whether it's, special DNR funding, whether it's meeting with folks, really want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and supports this, or at least the majority of you do.
Whether it's all the above.
Correct. But the other thing, and the mayor and I spoke about this, is, this isn't a funding plan. This isn't a construction schedule plan. There's no great way to talk about a $10 million infrastructure project and kick that off. So this is our best attempt to say, hey, we're very interested. We're pursuing options. We're exploring alternatives. Let's get the conversation started. But we want to make sure that our leadership, i.e. the city council, wants to do that.
So kind of referring to, last Friday, Brent and I had a meeting with WSB, and this kind of thing, the resolution, is something that Todd from WSB can use and can go back to as we're trying to search for funding partners for this, which we all know we can't go this alone, but to have this down, written in paper, and have it in the form of a resolution to demonstrate, pending the outcome of this vote, that the majority of us are not in, are in favor of this, gives it some teeth and will help us move through this. It's by no means a guarantee that we will go through with the project, but like Brent said, it's as good a kickoff, if you will, in kind of exploring the option and taking the earliest steps.
After dealing with the Corps for a number of years, and this is the best plan I've seen to certify the levy, to give relief to the people that live inside the floodplain, to get the insurance rates down, and this is the best plan I've seen, and I love to kick it off. And if we can get support, $10 million is $10 million. We don't know the real number yet, but it's been thrown up against the wall. That being said, finding funding for it and moving forward with our legislators to see what kind of help we can get, whatever agency, it doesn't matter. It's a project that we need to move forward with.
I guess I would just like to comment that When we're looking at this project, yes, it will take burden off of the downtown, but I think we need to remember that we're one community as a whole, and we are doing this project as a community. The location of it is what it is. It could be anywhere, and it would still be important to us.
Yes, it would.
So I just think that that's a good thing for us and residents too, when they're looking at this, to remember that it isn't about just the downtown, and it's about it's about our roots and our history here, but it's also about us as a whole, because we all live here and we all utilize the entire area. So that is my 2 cents on that.
I knew you'd have something.
Yeah, I would concur. I think it's really important for us to get something on paper, again, to get those funding partners and to move forward. Definitely helps with the discussion. I also want to comment and say this one pager that's in our packet about the City of Carver levy improvements and the benefits is an excellent communication piece internally for our residents. I assume you guys are going to use this at the May 15th meeting. The benefits are all there, and you're right, Christy. It's not just about the downtown; it's an investment in our community and Spring Creek, right? So it's the whole community. So it really is important, and I'm really glad that we're doing this.
I have a couple thoughts. I like where we're heading, and I also really like that in the materials that we're seeing how we need to get our design standards to align with the federal agency of FEMA. I think just being able to communicate that is really a big point in the project. And then in the resolution 11419, there is the second to last paragraph that I just think is so important, and it talks about where we as a city don't have the financial means to do an infrastructure investment of this dollar figure. But really, to get this certified, modernized, we're going to need partners at local, regional. Yes, we really are going to need significant support. So anyone that's listening, watching online or recorded version, I would love to hear about if somebody didn't invest in Carver, whether it was going to be because of the current state. How would this change? Maybe their home or a investment property or business. I really feel the current state, we're losing opportunities for the whole community, and I just think this really will help us in the future. But to be able to know about those things would help us as a council.
So I agree. I think that flood insurance is such a barrier to new development and growth in the downtown area. We know of a few examples already of folks who were potentially scouting locations downtown, but then when they realized that flood insurance alone would cost tens of thousands of dollars, that's not a fair assumption that folks would want that badly to be in downtown versus anywhere else to make that kind of investment and have to have the burden of flood insurance. That said, I agree with you 110% about this is something, while it is largely protecting, it is protecting the homes in downtown Carver from Spring Creek and the Minnesota River, that it has broader benefits to our entire community than just the residents downtown. It's also useful after working with the Army Corps for years unsuccessfully to have that number and to have that $10 million target, so that we know when we're going to these funding partners to be able to say,
We know what it is.
this is the number that we're looking for and that we need help with. So I think this is a step in the right direction. The other thing that I wanted to stress is this is definitely going to be a marathon and not a sprint. And we could have shovels in the ground tomorrow, and it could take 10 years or more before the flood insurance goes away. So I remain dedicated to it throughout, and would love to see this through. So.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 114-19, supporting the Carver Levy Certification Project.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Councilmember Mock and a second from Councilmember McKnight. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you, Brent, for the resolution. This will be really helpful.
Thank you.
All of those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great. Moving on, 9.2, Boulevard Maintenance Ordinance. Mr. Merrick.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So tonight we're asking the council to consider an ordinance related to boulevard maintenance. And so if you remember, the boulevard is the area out within the city right away that is essentially not the pavement. So it's the area from the curb, which it could include sidewalk, grass, trees, etc. And so in order to have consistent language to the city's sidewalk maintenance ordinance, so the city has language requiring folks adjacent to the right-of-way to shovel their sidewalks and remove it from snow and ice. The city doesn't have compatible language when it comes to mowing of grass and lawns. I wouldn't say we have a problem, and so I view this ordinance more as insurance to say we have compatible language for snow and ice as we do lawn and grass. I don't perceive there to be a problem. It's just nice to have consistent language within it, within our code. And so what this does is requires that lawn and grasses be maintained at a height no higher than 8 inches. It exempts county, state, and federal highways, which those are right-of-ways the city doesn't own. It also provides a special exemption for drainage areas and areas that the Public Services Director deems exempt from the ordinance. So I know the council has talked about this at a number of work sessions. We've worked on this for quite some time. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a couple, unless you want to.
No, go ahead.
When I'm looking at the actual ordinance, if I go to 40.233, the notice, and you go down to section B, so it says one delivered personally. Should that say or? Or are you planning on delivering personally, and then when you go to 2, it says sent by first-class mail, or? Are they both happening?
Sorry, could you go to the
Sure.
section you're
So when
looking
you, under section of notice, so when you go to letter B, it
Yep.
says such notice shall be deemed to be properly served. And then 1 says delivered personally, stops. And then the next says sent by first class. And the end of number 2 says or. So are you planning on delivering personally and then also mailing it out? Or does that need to have an or? Is it one of those 3, or is it multiple ones of that 3?
My reading of it is one of those 3, but I defer to the city attorney if I'm incorrect.
So there should be an or.
Okay. Does that one little word need to be added in there to say or, so it doesn't look like it's, because when I first read it, I was trying to figure out if it was 2 of the 3 or 1 of the 3.
It's like I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. If I'm pretending to be a lawyer, like when we look at our,
Oh, great.
We already have one. No.
when we read as staff, when we read codes and we see language drafted like this by an attorney, it's intuitive for us to say we have one of these 3 choices. So it might not read that way to someone who's not looking at the code, but when I look at it, I'm going to do either 1 or 2, and if the notice is returned, it gives me direction to do the 3rd piece. So
Okay, as long as.
I appreciate the
that works.
comment. I don't think it's needed.
Okay. And then under number 2, it says that if the taxpayer's address is different than the address where the violation exists, the notice shall be mailed to the property address where the violation exists. So let's say it was a rental property. So you're going to send it to the person who's renting, and the actual owner may live, let's just say Arizona. The owner lives in Arizona. So the owner in Arizona has no idea that this is happening at their property. So what if if they don't take care of it, who does the violation bill go to then? Does it go to the owner?
Correct.
But the owner you're saying here isn't going to get noticed if they're not at the actual property. Shall we start again?
Sorry, no, so are you recommending then that if the taxpayer's address is different than the address where the violation exists, then the notice shall also be mailed to both? This sentence sounds like it's being mailed to both.
Okay.
I think that's what you want to confirm.
I do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so if I'm reading it incorrectly, please let me know, but when I was reading it, it was saying to me that if the taxpayer's address is different than the address where the violation exists, then the notice shall also be mailed to the property, so we
Yes,
can have
you
it
want to
covered.
make sure it's mailed to
Okay.
both.
I missed one little word in there.
We're good.
The renter under no condition is going to be is going to have to pay. It's a property owner issue. Now, if the landlord and tenant have some type of maintenance provision within their lease, you know, that's a private party matter.
Okay.
But as far as how we handle the administration of it, it's a city and property owner issue.
Okay, I just didn't want any surprises for a homeowner who may be renting. And then I have one other. So if they don't take care of it, if we're looking under assessment, it says that the city manager or designated employee shall have such brush or yard waste removed, et cetera. Are you planning on having the city go in and remove it and then bill back, or would that be something we would hire out for?
We've done it both ways.
Okay.
I personally like to have a company come out and do it. I think it's a lot cleaner from a paperwork standpoint than trying to determine an employee's wages, but we've done it both ways.
Okay. The reason that I bring that up is that under C, it says the inspection charge of $100 shall be due upon the mailing of the city invoice to the property owner. So if it's a city employee going out and actually doing the maintenance, I don't know why we would send another city to go out and inspect it.
Yep, so the inspection it's not an inspection that it's cut. This is I think we discussed this at the last meeting, this is the charge to make sure that we don't have someone who by default is just letting the city cut their lawn every 6 weeks. So it's, because there are folks that will do that, is they'll just wait till it gets 8 inches, they'll get their letter, they won't hire someone to maintain it, they know that the city will just come in. So the inspection isn't to see that it's cut, it's you were found in violation, we're going out. For us going out, you've been charged $100. Am I correct in that?
I can think for a second. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else with comments?
No.
Glenn, no?
Oh, I'm good.
I have nothing. Are you? I'm good. Good, okay. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 01-2019 related to boulevard maintenance.
I'll make a second to the motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember McKnight and a second from Councilmember Sayer. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to communications, the 2020 budget schedule. Mr. Merrick.
Second. All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. So in your packet is a draft of the 2020 budget schedule. So we typically, or annually, we'll put this out. I know this seems like, for some of you, we just finished the 2019 budget, but we're already starting to figure out and plan out the 2020 budget. All these dates, with the exception of one, kind of line up with your city council calendar. We have added an extra date in September. September
9th.
September 9th. And that's just in case you need some additional time to review the general fund. So the city needs to certify by the end of September preliminary levy to Carver County. And so if we need some additional time prior to your last regularly scheduled meeting in September, that work session will come in handy. There have been some times where the council has scheduled a special meeting for the end of September to adopt the preliminary levy. But we've found in the last few years that it works better for schedules to do that. A number of years ago, you needed to have it submitted by September 15th, so it put some more pressure on local governments to get kind of their house in order as it relates to that preliminary levy. And again, the preliminary levy just sets the ceiling for the most that you can tax. It doesn't necessarily relate to how you want that budget to go and what specific items you're going to fund. It just says, this is the most that we're going to set our property tax level at. We can go lower, but we can't raise it. And so that's a really key milestone in the budget process. Another key milestone is going to be in when we introduce the long-term financial plan. So that's coming up toward the first part of July. And so we're starting to work on that already with Steve McDonald and Dan Lannis, Brian Skoke, Aaron Smith, et cetera, putting together how our infrastructure projects will impact the city's financial position. One of the things that the council asked within the strategic plan is to include technology in there. And so that'll be another component that you'll look at. So you'll kind of see the first kind of impact, then we'll get some feedback from the council and say, you know, this is what we feel comfortable with. These are some targets we want you to hit, and then we'll adjust from there. So this is just kind of a dipping your toe into the water, getting a sense of what you can expect as we head into the summer and budget season. Just wanted to get some feedback from the council if you had any questions or if there are specifics that you wanted to make sure were addressed as we start planning for the process.
No, I just appreciate it all being scheduled in our regular work sessions. Thank you.
No questions? Okay. Then moving on to council member communications.
Oh, I have nothing.
Okay.
Don't have anything.
Christy?
We had the HPC open house last week. We didn't have a huge turnout. We did have a couple people stop down and take a look, and John Von Walter did a presentation on the history of Carver. What I'm really happy about, though, is that we did mail out the design guidelines or delivered to all of those homes and businesses that are in the district, and I think that's really helpful. We have people who move in or may not be familiar with it, and we're getting into that season of wanting to do home projects and things like that. So I think it was really important to at least get that information out ahead of time and be a little proactive so that people know what they're getting into and what to expect. So even though, like I said, the attendance wasn't super high, I think overall it was a good deal, and I'm glad that information went out to the residents and business owners. And that's all I have.
Have a planning commission Thursday night, so I'll have more information later. Jonathan Carver Parkway, April 11th, not April,
31st.
31st, rescheduled on, okay.
Somewhere.
At what time at the school?
6:30 to 8:30.
6:30 to 8:30.
The 30th, it's the 30th.
There's no 31.
Tuesday, April 30th.
Tuesday, April 30th. Okay. I just want to remind everybody because I know
Because you needed a reminder.
that too. But no, it's like, Glenn, sorry.
And another notice to all residents is going to be sent out on the corridor study open house for the 30th, so people will get something in the mail shortly.
I forgot one thing. The Lions Easter egg hunt is this Saturday up at Community Park. It starts at 10 a.m. Be there early. It lasts about 10 minutes once those kids get going.
That's generous, I think.
Yeah, okay.
4?
Generously, yeah. Okay, 4 minutes maybe is better. But I know that there was something out on Macaroni Kids that had an incorrect time. So it is at 10 a.m. on Saturday up at Community Park.
Just like it stated in the city newsletter.
Yes.
Let's see. The only thing that I had that I just wanted to go over really quickly, last Monday night, we had our strategic planning session where we had members of the council and members of all the commissions, and we went through a strategic planning session, much like we did in February and March, to kind of figure out some direction. And for folks at home and for folks who might not be going through the packets as thoroughly as we do, I just wanted to kind of draw attention. This is something that's going to be in every packet for the commissions, for council going forward. And we kind of coined it the Carver Way. It's kind of 4 different focus areas, but we're focused on solutions to support shared goals and vision. We listen with respect and compassion while engaging in open dialogue. We are a prepared and dedicated group that utilizes resources effectively, and our team works together for a better Carver. So really proud of the work that we did. It was a really nice night out, and folks probably had better places to be, but it was impressive that so many folks showed up and made that their priority to be there. So thanks to everybody who was there. That is all I have. Vicki? Brent?
Just a couple items. A reminder that the council and the Parks Commission are meeting on Monday, April 29th at 6:30 to kind of have a kickoff of the Parks Master Plan process.
I'm sorry, are we required to attend that?
Pardon?
Is that for council as well?
Yeah,
Or-
it's a joint session of the
Oh, it's a
council.
joint session.
On what day?
Monday, April 29th. I think Erin sent something out to the council.
Yeah, she did. Okay.
And then also a reminder, at the start of your next work session on Monday, May 6th, we're going to meet at the construction trailer for City Hall and get everyone a hard hat, safety glasses, and a vest, and then have a tour of the City Hall construction site. So,
Anything
We're
else?
excited.
pardon?
I said that's very exciting.
We're very excited.
What are the
Until you see how you get to the second floor.
There should be more floor.
groundbreakings again? For
Oh, yeah.
Lakeview and,
I don't have them in front of me. I know Aaron is coordinating with Carver Ridge and Lakeview on those.
So the Lakeview one on my calendar is also Tuesday, the 30th at 11:30.
Okay.
But the Carver Ridge is the week before on Thursday, I believe.
That's what I have also, the 25th.
Do all of you have invites for that from Aaron?
I've seen invites from Aaron, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
because I know they're originally on the same date.
I know, I can't make the Thursday, the 25th, but I can make the 30th.
Make motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henry and a second from Councilmember Mock. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.